started this project of digital marketing, sales automation, data management, data consumption, all so that we can have a level of transparency over what we're doing and that we can trust in the data and the numbers and what we're looking at. And anyone who could approach these people and increase their trust, I think has a strong case to be able to sell a product. And I think that's what CHEQ is doing. We ultimately, above everything else, we're selling trust.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumitech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with CHEQ. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. This episode is all about go-to-market strategy with security. Two very, very exponentially growing fields in the last decade. And now they're combining because now we have fake bots and fake users that are acting as leads. And obviously that's hindering both cost of acquisition and it's hindering the customer experience and the ability for companies to actually provide value and to optimize their funnel to meet the right customers at the right time with the right messaging. Meet Daniel Avital, the Chief Strategy Officer and Global Head of Marketing for CHEQ. Daniel is the Chief Strategy Officer and Global Head of Marketing at CHEQ, the leader in go-to-market security. His role spans across company positioning, market and category building, brand and product marketing, communication, and demand generation. Prior to CHEQ, Daniel served as a Senior Director of Strategy at Gray, where he held brand and marketing strategy for leading global brands, including P&G, Fiat Group, GSK, and others. We all are doing in one way or another customer acquisition. Whether you're in tech or you're not in tech, especially in tech, you're thinking about the scale and the efficiency of it. But then you're dealing with another problem that is very, very different, but is integrating into it, which is bots, fake, and fraud, which is obviously with digitalization, it's exponentially more than we had before. And you're combining two worlds that are so dominant today. And so I'm excited to talk to you about, as Chief Strategy of CHEQ, a little bit about what you guys are doing and how you're thinking through a lot of these problems. So Daniel, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me and for the generous introduction. I think you hit the nail on the head. This is a curious company, among other reasons, because of the intersection of, I guess you'd call the world of go-to-market, right? So marketing, user acquisition, sales, data and analytics, all these sort of business-facing units, and with cybersecurity. These are two worlds which usually are siloed away, and the cybersecurity industry traditionally has, no matter what solution you're putting out there in cybersecurity, you have one thing in common, is that you are selling to a security team, to a chief information security officer, and that the applications you are selling as a cybersecurity company are meant to reduce risk, to secure. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if you're an Amazon.com, we're going to protect your customers' credit card information. If you're Mount Sinai Health, we're going to ensure that your health records aren't stolen. If you're a nuclear power plant, we're going to make sure North Korean hackers don't crash your critical infrastructure. This is what has traditionally been thought as the main application of cybersecurity. And all of a sudden comes along this company CHEQ and says, yeah, the internet's a bad place and it's the Wild West, and 40% of the traffic out there is bots and automation tools and hackers and fraudsters. And yes, this is all a security problem, but it is also a business problem. It is also a business for anyone in the go-to-market operation, anyone doing user acquisition or paid marketing. They're going to engage in your funnels. Bots are going to fill your audiences and you're going to remarket to them, or they're going to click on your ads. If you're operating a website or e-commerce, they're going to flood your website, fill out forms. They're going to find themselves in your CRM. So maybe your sales team or your BDRs are now chasing invalid leads, which are going to waste their time. They're going to engage with your chat. Worst of all,
Right.
most strategically, they're going to skew the data in your BI and analytics systems, right? You're trying to
For sure.
forecast and project your business on bad data.
Right. And so just to understand the magnitude of the problem, how dominant is this in today's customer acquisition funnels and everything that you just mentioned? Well, how big is this?
Well, I'll give you a data point, which is real. Companies put a data out there. I heard Imperva say 50%, 52% of traffic today is bots. I've heard people say higher numbers than that. I'll give you a real data point from over 12,000 CHEQ customers that we service today. When your CHEQ customer first plugs in CHEQ and, as we call it, switches on the light and sees the fake traffic in their funnels, we see an average of 27% of all direct and organic website traffic to be invalid in some way, shape, or form. Like we said, bots, automation tools, click farms, malicious users, proxies, you name it, 27%. It's almost a third of all traffic is not real.
Unbelievable. Okay, and you're seeing this, and obviously, just to to elaborate on the problem, because a lot of people may look at this and say, okay, great. So you're just losing a third of your ad money, right? But it's not that. Your whole operation, like you mentioned, on optimizing your lead generation and understanding, okay, where is this user in the funnel and what's making them drop? You're skewing the whole understanding of the user behavior and not allowing companies to internally adopt and adapt. And then you have dozens or hundreds of engineers that are working on optimizing lead flows for bots instead of for actual people and actually delivering value to the people who need it and who can actually enjoy the product, right? So this is a much deeper problem than just spending more money on ads and raising your CAC.
I think so. This, as you characterize it, is not a tactical problem of optimizing my marketing CAC, right? This is not what we're talking about. That is part of it. This is a deep strategic problem. This fake traffic, it poisons everything. It poisons your data. It poisons the audience segments in your CDP, your advertising audiences, your CRM, your lead flows, your conversion funnels. It is a contamination, if I could borrow a term. I think the market is now starting to realize that we're living in this era of the fake web and that you have to address that. And when you put together your strategic plans, you have a go-to-market motion and you have a marketing plan and you have a sales plan and you have a plan to protect yourself from the fake web. I think that's becoming part of the culture today.
So CHEQ, how do you actually go about solving this? We understand the problem, huge, important. What is there to do? How do you combine cybersecurity with lead generation, with marketing?
Yeah, well, the first challenge is how do you not just sell cybersecurity to a CMO or a VP of analytics, to a CISO persona, but how do you build a product for that?
Yeah.
Right. You take your average bot mitigation, WAF, whatever it is, and you put it in front of, I'm a marketer. You put it in front of me and I might not find myself too easily. And I think what we've done very well at CHEQ is build that security product from the go-to-market, the go-to-marketer's lens. Okay. When you look at that dashboard, it's speaking the language that you're used to: leads, clicks, campaign sources, traffic sources, affiliate marketers in my network. It's showing you metrics that you care about. It's showing you information and reporting that you care about. And it's baked into your ecosystem. So it integrates with your analytics or BI tools. It matches up and integrates with your audience, with your advertising audiences. It works in all the environments. So I think that was really the big challenge, was building that. And of course, there's the technological challenge of accuracy. When you're a CISO, not to speak for all of my CISO friends, but in a sense, you're being swarmed by a DDoS attack, a full-scale invasion, to borrow another, contemporary term. And at that point, you're firing will, as they say, and you got to stop all the attack, even if that means there's some collateral damage. That's not the mindset of a go-to-market leader, of a marketing team. They want
Right.
surgical precision. God forbid we should accidentally block a real paying customer. That's damage
For
to their
sure.
goals. So there's a certain level of nuance and sophistication in the technology and accuracy built in to make sure we're 0% false positives. I think it's an interesting challenge.
Right. How do you evolve over time? If you're looking back at CHEQ and you're looking at the way that both your own understanding and the company's understanding of this world, right? And you've been around for some time. 12,000 customers, incredible. What do you learn about the world working with so many customers and developing this product and owning this domain, becoming a market leader there?
I guess people ultimately want one thing, especially when it comes to the digital world, increasingly digital world in which we're living in, and it's transparency and trust. I think that's my greatest coin drop, my greatest understanding, my greatest insight for working with all these different people from different industries, from different verticals. I mean, 12,000 customers, that covers a lot. We have cybersecurity customers, we have banking customers, we have retail, we have health and education. The list goes on. It's all ultimately about one thing. We started this project of digital marketing, sales automation, data management, data consumption, all so that we can have a level of transparency over what we're doing and that we can trust in the data and the numbers and what we're looking at. And anyone who could approach these people and increase their trust, I think has a strong case to be able to sell a product. And I think that's what CHEQ is doing. We ultimately, above everything else, we're selling trust.
Right. And how does it actually work with the customer? So the people that are actually using CHEQ within the organization, what is the product and the interface that they're experiencing to experience that and to give that offering to others?
I think first of all, there is transparency baked in, to our platform. There's a dashboard that pretty much shows you at a high level everything. There's the ability to download log level reports to give you that more granular data. There's the ability to plug that into your own BI environments via a connector or via a push API. So there's all of these options, and that's literally half of what the product does. Beyond the blocking mitigation capabilities is that transparency, is that layer of visibility. That's how our customers view us. They always say, we put in CHEQ and we switch the lights. Other than that, there's ways to communicate that value through notifications to customers, making sure they know when we catch something bad that we caught it. And, EBRs, quarterly, strong customer success team. It's an organizational effort to make sure that we're not just bringing the value, but that the customer understands that value.
As chief strategy and head of marketing, what does the day-to-day look like for you? So you have the company now. You raised, I think, almost $200 million, 12,000 customers, big company. What does the chief strategy job look like these days? Are you looking for, the next, and obviously not looking for the next pivot necessarily of the company, but you have to think of strategy. What does strategy look like for you?
I'm fortunate because my day job is to run marketing at CHEQ, and then I get to play around in the strategy playground along with my fellow management. It's a team effort, deciding on the company's strategy and fate ultimately. When I look at what we're doing from a strategic lens, I have to first sort of define what strategy is. You ask, you yourself around Stanford, and that if you'd ask 100 professors at Stanford for their definition of strategy, you would get 100 answers. My best attempt is more than 100,
maybe
probably.
200.
My best attempt at this is if I say, look, in a business context at least, you should take a clear position in the market, and then apply all your resources to achieve that position. So for me, that's the question of strategies. What is the position we want to take in the market? And also, what is the market? Remember, we're building a new category, go-to-market security. The idea that cybersecurity would be sold to secure go-to-market needs is novel. It's a new category that we are building and leading. And so not only...
Did you feel over time that there was, market education that needed to happen, and that the way that the market is evolving over time, that this education is becoming easier and easier?
Absolutely. Look,
organically?
When like any time you start a new category, at the beginning, people are going to be looking at you like, I didn't know about this. I didn't know this was a problem. I did not know it affects me.
Yep.
I didn't know there were solutions for this problem. And, we've come a long way since then. And I think today, most savvy go-to-market teams understand at least that there's a problem, and in most cases that they need a solution. But the education process took time and is ongoing and never ends. The education, I think that's a huge part of it. So, but to educate, you must first define what are the boundaries of the category. What is go-to-market security? And I think that has been our focus in saying, what does it include, what it doesn't include. And basically we're saying all of the means, digital means by which you go to market, I guess, are something that we want to protect. If you'd want an analogy for that, maybe the easiest way to think about it, you think about a company like Salesforce. Okay, I always viewed Salesforce, they characterize themselves as the customer cloud, right? Customer 360. But I always looked at it as like the sales enablement cloud, really. Everything or the go-to-market, I should say, enablement cloud. Everything you need to go to market, we, Salesforce, have in our cloud. You need CRM, we have that. You need marketing automation, you need email engagement, you need BI, Tableau, you need marketing analytics, Datorama. We have that. We enable your go-to-market motion. I say everything Salesforce enables, we secure. Those are the limits of the category. And we keep it clean and human. So I guess that's how we're thinking about it strategically.
If you're looking internally, how many people are you at the organization
today? We're approximately 200 or nearing 200 people. And I think our plans to end the year at around 320 people. So it's a high growth operation.
Wow. Okay, got it. And with 200 people, if I'm looking now, on a leadership level, it's 20-minute leaders after all. And I'm looking now at, looking at the executive team, and obviously you're representing a very, very specific, optimistic, grand vision. We're defining a new category. We're creating go-to-market security for go-to-market, the intersection of cybersecurity and marketing. If you were to ask, your engineers, your designers, your product managers, do they all understand, the magnitude of what it means to create a new category, that they're effectively ambassadors of this notion of what CHEQ is? Because I'm thinking, culturally, how do you get an organization to have like an army of people saying, we believe in this vision. We're not just engineers at this company that has great perks,
I think that's a great question.
How do you create that culture?
The role of Chief Strategy Officer, as you well know, is not a standard role in the C-suite. Every company has a CEO and a COO and a CFO and a CMO, but not necessarily a Chief Strategy Officer. I think that early on, I said to myself and Guy, our founder and CEO, when we were talking about this role, we said that is a big part of the role, is to not only have a strategy, which is something that I'm not responsible for solely, but is to make sure that strategy is known throughout the organization and understood, so that we're all working towards the same North Star. You go throughout 200 employees, check from the most senior executive to the most junior intern, and what you will find that they all tell you, oh yeah, we're the go-to-market security company. We're on a mission to fight the fake web. I think everybody understands that, from developer to salesperson to engineer. And there's no other way to succeed. I think everyone has to be aligned towards the same goal. And it's a challenge. It's internal communication. It's sales enablement. But most importantly, it's having a clear, powerful, but simple message that anyone can understand. Like, we're here to fight the fake web.
I love it. And Daniel, I think that I definitely learned a lot myself. And, I'm always fascinated by these exact stories, especially when it comes to creating a new category and to finding the intersection between two things that grew exponentially parallel to each other, and all of a sudden they're beginning to intersect. And really, we're talking about the last few years. I mean, this is when it's happening today. Everybody's doing product-led growth. Everybody's doing deep analytics into everything that's happening in our softwares, especially when it comes to customer acquisition. I mean, at the end, this is what companies this is what they live on, right? And these instances of fake and bots, like I mentioned before, it's one hand, yes, there's a monetary substantial limitation there and things hindering that you have to overcome, but it's much more than that. You're shifting the whole understanding of the organization, and that's why I think CHEQ is so interesting, because the ripple effect of these bots and these fake users and these fake leads, they grow in magnitude across the whole across the whole pipeline of what the organization is doing with their leads. And I think that's much more important than just the money of the cost of acquisition. And Daniel, I really appreciate your time and your effort and your energy and spending this time with me. I appreciate it. So thank you very, very much. Best of luck with CHEQ, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael, and take care.